Hey, my name is Anna. I'm making a video today and it'll be like a series of videos because I want to blog my whole process of getting a rhinoplasty done in Turkey, and I want to do my first one before the surgery just because the ones that I've seen, it's like everyone's done it afterwards. So no one really like talks about before how they felt. So I wanted to make it more about the journey, not just like the end result and then talking about the journey, but not really like seeing the whole process. What prompted me to make the video to begin with is that I was doing my own research, and some of that was that watching other girls or guys go through it, and a lot of them are these celebrities, these influencers. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, they're like beautiful, gorgeous people with thousands of followers. I don't know if they got a discount and whatnot, but I'm like your typical average American. So, it's just a little nerve-wracking. So I just thought it was really important that, like, like your basic average, kind of like, not like a nobody, but again, like, I'm just not famous. So let's just make that very clear. And I just thought it was really important. Like, I would have been reassured if I could talk to someone kind of like myself to be like, hey, like, what did you go through? What was it like? What did you prepare? What questions did you ask? What did the doctor say? Like, how does it look like? I almost feel like kind of an expert in it right now, in terms of like the preparation work. So feel free to keep watching the video, and definitely feel free to ask me questions along the way throughout my journey and even after this whole process. I'm so happy to be a resource. So first things first, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what I want to share with you today. This is like the initial preparation stage. So again, I have a week before I go. So today I'm going to share with you why I chose Turkey. So I'm looking at my notes. I have some notes down here because I'm trying to organize my thoughts for you guys. So why Turkey? Which doctor did I choose? Why and how it happened that I chose my doctor? How that research process went to find a doctor in Turkey, because there's so many and it's overwhelming. And then some of the initial conversations that I had with the doctors, like what things you want to know, what things you want to talk about, what questions to ask, what questions not to ask. I don't think there's a question that I didn't feel like I shouldn't have asked. Why Turkey? Because of 2 to 3 main reasons, but first of them being that the cost, right? And that coincides with the results, which is your face and your nose. You want to make sure that it's done right by a specialist. So let's start with cost. In America, the doctors that I really liked, they were starting at $11,500. That's going to be the doctor right up here. The other doctor that I really, really liked, she's located in New York. The ballpark range for her when I called to get a consultation was starting at $18,000. $18,000, not 18. So I was on the phone. I was like, So going back, with that said, I was like, okay, well, it's technically cheaper for me to go to Turkey, get it done, fly there, stay there, and come back. And it's still less than half the cost. So it was like kind of a no-brainer. Aside from the fact that it's COVID 2020, that was a huge inconvenience. So because of that, I thought, well, why not just do it in Turkey? And then on top of that, Turkish doctors, I think, are Turkish surgeons, let me correct myself. Turkish rhinoplasty surgeons, I think, are some of the best in the world, only because they do these ultrasonic procedures compared to like open or closed rhinoplasties. And I'm not a surgeon, so like I can't like speak for their word, but looking at their portfolio, reading their reviews, I just think that their work is a lot much better and it's more aggressive than what you would find in America. And like I said before, if you're going to pay for that kind of money, you should get what you want. So with that said, putting it all together, I just thought that, or I felt very comforted in knowing that in Turkey, these surgeons are very specialized. So my specific surgeon, he only does rhinoplasties, whereas in America, most and all surgeons, they're capable, which I think they're very skilled, but they're capable of doing liposuction, breasts, tummy tuck, butt lifts, breasts, rhinoplasty, eyelid surgery, and like, whoa. And then like when you look on their gallery, you're like scrolling to find a nose, and when you do, you like zoom in and you're like, oh, let me like scrutinize my nose. And I'm like, ugh, like that's just like, I just didn't feel like comforted knowing that they can do all of that. And like my nose is like really important to me as much as I hate it or like dislike it. So with that said, that was why I'd like to do it in Turkey. I understand the risks involved. You know, it's the Middle East, it's Turkey, it's COVID. So now that we know why I chose Turkey, I'd like to talk to you about how and why I chose my doctor. So let me show you really fast who my doctor is. His name is Dr. Niyazi, if you want to find him on Instagram. So how I found him, let's start with that. I started with a rabbit hole. Sorry, I have my dog with me, and he's just moving around the bed trying to get comfortable. Anyways, so you go down this rabbit hole of like initially going into Instagram, and you go see all the famous ones that come up kind of like on your feed. And then slowly you go into that rabbit hole, like I said, and you see more and more and more doctors. And I really liked his work. I really liked his pictures. So then I did like a background research on him of like real self, some reviews. Google reviews isn't really big there, but I definitely looked on there. And then I went on some Arabic review sites, and I went back and forth like translating Arabic, English, and all of them had really good reviews about him. So after that, I messaged him on WhatsApp. So I downloaded WhatsApp for the first time. I also DM'd him on Instagram. So we had two different methods of communicating. And a lot of these doctors, because I've spoken to so many, they all are able to speak English, or at least their assistants. They have an English-speaking assistant on staff. They'll be going back and forth with you, telling you all the details, all the scheduling. They'll make hotel appointments for you if you do packages. I can talk to you about that later. And so, again, why I had chosen him, liked his portfolio. He had great reviews. I thought he was very accredited. And I really felt comfortable talking with whoever I was talking to, the assistant. She responded right away, despite our like time difference. And she was very informative. And I just felt very comforted that she wasn't trying to force me or sell me. And the response rate was really great. And any concerns that I had, she was like very honest and straightforward, and I really appreciated that. Some doctors, like, they wouldn't respond for 2-3 days, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm like trying to make decisions here, and I feel like if you can't respect that, how am I going to feel comfortable? Like, it's already nerve-wracking that I'm already going to Turkey and I'm making this decision. So I just felt really comforted that like our communication was like really fast, really straightforward, and just like very genuine. So the conversations that I had with her and most of the other doctors that I had talked to, first question that I ask after hearing about the $18,000 in America, I'm like, how much does it cost? And you get like a broad range of them. Like the famous ones are $6,000-$7,000, and I'm like, okay, like after flights, after hotels, it's like more or less the same in America. So I'm like, and then after reading a few reviews in Arabic, there's actually an ethical issue in Turkey, I think, being an American, is that they charge foreigners more than they would for Turkish people or Arabic-speaking people. And my husband's not from America or the U.S., so I know that there's like kind of this like haggling culture in the Middle East. I've seen it before when I went to travel. I've seen it in Arab markets. So I was pretty successful in kind of like negotiating, because I had like a budget in mind, because based on my research, you should be in that ballpark range of like mid to higher $2,000 to like upper $4,000, $5,000, but you really shouldn't be that high as $5,000. They're kind of ripping you off, which makes you question, why is America so expensive? I don't know. So just be aware of that when you converse with them. Be like, hey, like, I have a strict budget. And some people will work with you. Some doctors like just stop responding to you, which is fine. Like, they have clients. I'm sure more people go to them. But please know that like you don't have to go to like a celebrity or a well-known doctor with that blue check mark. There's so many good doctors out there. And I'm happy to talk to you about them, because I had great experiences as well. I may or would have chosen them. But I just feel like I made a personal decision with Dr. Niyazi, and I'm very excited there. Every doctor has a website. Some of them do translate into English. If you click the UK flag, everything just like turns into the same screen but different language, and it'll tell you like your recovery rate, how the process works, like kind of your schedule. So like I knew what I was getting myself into before I had already talked to Dr. Niyazi or his like English speaking assistant, because more or less they're all the same, but I've read all of them in detail just because it was so important for me to like really know what I'm getting myself to, know the risks, know what the differences are, if there are any differences. I really didn't want to see something that I didn't see coming. Great. So now that you kind of know like the back end of my story and the preparation, some of the other things that you have to look at before you kind of commit is not only just talking to doctors, looking at their website. Talking to multiple doctors is really important. I just think that it makes you more well informed. I think you should talk to American doctors. I called about I called probably 4 or 5 doctors in the U.S., mostly on the East Coast, and then I found a consultant that consults plastic surgeons, so I had reached out to him as well and asked like, hey, what are like the top doctors in America, the rhinoplasty surgeons in America, and he recommended 2, so I had reached out to them as well. So I was very well aware of like the market in America, and that's how, again, my decision to Turkey came about. Great. Moving forward, so aside from all that research, additionally, a couple of the things that I asked the doctor was to be able to speak to some of their patients, because there's lack of Google reviews. They don't use Yelp there, and you only see like really, really good reviews, and I just wanted to speak with someone that went through the process, spoke my language, and was like, how was it? Like, I just want to know, like, how was it? Like, what would you have done differently? Like, what did you see not coming? What was unexpected? Like, how did you feel? Everyone's different, but like, I just had so many questions for like these people, and all the doctors are like, hey, I cannot, because I cannot share patient information. So I went on Instagram and I tried to see who they tagged and try to reach out to them, but I had very little success in doing that. And right now, I know it's early stages of my blogging and my process, but I really wish I had someone to talk to and like ask all these questions, because right now all I'm doing is watching Facebook, YouTube videos right now, and reading Reddit articles of people's experiences in Turkey, and they're super insightful, and this is why, again, why I'm doing this.